MADiSON, a psychological horror experience which has been out in non-VR for some time now, has finally made its way to the world of virtual reality. I'll be going over what the game offers to help you decide if this is one for you. The story starts off with you being locked in a room with your father slamming on the door. Something terrible has happened, but you can't remember. You play as Luca, a young adult whose sanity seems to be slipping, or is something more sinister happening here? The story is very engrossing, but also very nerve-wracking. It focuses heavily on trauma and the fight for survival. Gameplay wise, this is a puzzle game. Yes, it's also a horror, but you could kind of say that's the background to the game. You will have to explore this dark house collecting items, all of which will most likely be the solution to a puzzle later down the line. You're also equipped with a Polaroid camera which also serves as a puzzle item. Taking photos of the environment will lead to clues on how to progress, so if you think you're stuck, check your snaps and see what's there, as you may already have the solution. Now for the horror side of the game, I'm going to say this right now: if you have any underlying heart condition, do not play this game. When I say the jumps will make your heart rate skyrocket, I'm not kidding. This is by far the scariest game I've ever played in VR. I'm also not ashamed to say that I noped out a couple of times. The jumps consist of things just appearing to entities sprinting directly at you. This is horrifying. As for the audio, that alone will be enough to scare you at times, as you'll be hearing various things. I'd say the audio design in this game is probably the best I've ever heard in a horror. Now for the graphics, they're phenomenal. Everything looks spectacular. I'm also happy to say I didn't have any frame drops or crashes. Another great thing to add is the haptic support in this game is some of the best you will experience from the PSVR2, from the subtle vibration of the headset when you experience headaches in the game, to the thud of vibration on the sense controllers when you're using your hands. It really immerses you in this nightmare. Right, with the settings there is smooth and snap turning and full locomotion, but no teleportation movement. I'm also happy to say you can play the game seated with no issues. Now for what I didn't like, there are moments in this game when you realise that although it is a VR game, it doesn't feel 100% VR, such as pressing the trigger to do stuff instead of just using your finger or moving closer to the things you're meant to investigate. None of this broke the immersion, but it was definitely noticeable. I'm also happy to say that for any trophy hunters out there, this game does have a platinum. Overall, MADiSON VR is the scariest VR game I've ever played, and at times I just wanted to turn it off and uninstall it and act like I never even knew about it, but I also wanted to keep returning. The story is quite lengthy, especially if you get caught up in a puzzle, which is more than likely going to happen if this is your first time playing. I'm also happy to say that if you have played the non-VR version, this will still likely make you jump. So, should you get this game? Well, if you want a horror game that doesn't ever let up, then this is it. However, if you're not a fan of puzzles, then I say avoid this game. This concludes my review of MADiSON VR. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to stick around as I'll be covering many more VR titles. Thanks for watching.